Hey there guys, and welcome back to Alex Invest. Today is Sunday, and so you guys know what that means. We're doing a Sunday recap today. Of course, I stayed with a green sign because we're optimistic for next week, guys, as always. But you know what? With a red day, that's always good too, because it gives us a buying opportunity, of course, first of all. And, you know, we will see these stocks recover. We're in this bull market still, and that's actually going to be part of the tip for you guys today. So stay tuned for that. But anyways, what we're going to go over today is some of the trades I made last week. First of all, we're going to go over some of the trades I'm looking at making next week as well. And then finally, we're going to look at sort of our tip of our Sunday tip, right? Of course. So let's get into it here. We'll start off with just some of the trades I made last week, and we're going to start right here at Brewbuilt Manufacturing, right? Because we had sort of this big run. I talked about this one last week, and you know, there's some good things happening here. You can go check out those videos. But anyways, we did see this huge run actually, you know, from the 5th here. We had this big, basically almost over 100% jump here, basically. And so that's really good there, and I do see us actually continuing. We're at 1 cent now, and honestly I see us hitting 2 cents next week, so stay tuned for that. The other trade, really good one here, is HITI.V, and this is a marijuana stock, and they've got actually really good financials. You know, their chart's looking nice, and you know, there's a lot of people out there right now who are really bullish on this one. So I picked this one up actually for the first time last week, and you know, I just see us really moving higher from here. I have stocks. I also have warrants in this one, and you know, I am likely looking to pick up more shares in this company, but also potentially looking to pick up a few more warrants here. So we'll see where we go next week. If we do see a dip down, that's definitely something you will see me do. Even if we don't see a dip, I may still actually be picking up more shares here because I am quite bullish on this one, and so are a few of my friends. So that's good. And then I wanted to look at Mountain Valley MD as well here, right? We're in sort of this consolidation phase now after we had this big run sort of a few weeks ago, right? And we started at the 0.5 here. This is kind of when I got in, but it was sort of during this consolidation phase, and we can see we've got something similar happening here, another consolidation phase, and we might see another big jump here. Sorry, one more thing I wanted to mention about HITI.V as well is, you know, this right here. And you know, we see the title here, Biden baking plans for federal marijuana legislation, boost for CMOs. And this is really what it's all about here, right? We're seeing Biden step into office, and he's looking to legalize marijuana on a federal level, and that's really going to push these marijuana stocks up. We've seen a run in these marijuana stocks already, you know, in the past few weeks here. Tilray has been doing very well. Afri has been doing pretty well as well. And, you know, actually these are stocks that I used to be invested in back in 2016, you know, when we had that last kind of marijuana craze, and obviously nothing much came of it because there wasn't all that legalization that needed to happen and all this, and I don't think we were quite ready then. But now I think we might actually be ready for this next step. It's kind of the same thing that happened with the hydrogen industry as well, right? You know, if you go back on the chart for the hydrogen industry, and let's just do that here quickly actually with you guys. So we'll go back over here and let's just pick one. We'll just pick fuel cell, for example, right? And we'll go on the daily chart here. Actually, we'll need the weekly chart even. And we can see kind of, you know, where we kind of came from here. And obviously this price here is with dilution, but you know, in the 2000s, we came up heavily in all these hydrogen stocks, and we can go, if we take a look at, you know, Plug Power here as well, we had sort of this big jump in the 2000s, right? Where all these stocks were doing really well, and then it was kind of realized that, you know, we aren't quite at those stages for this hydrogen power yet, and we saw these stock prices come down a lot, right? And now you can't think of it as the $1,500 or the $7,000 price, because that just includes dilution, right? So the stock price was actually lower, but the point is we had these runs back in 2000 that we came down off of those huge runs because we weren't ready. And now again, I think we're ready here for for sort of this hydrogen industry and this hydrogen technology to really take off here. And we're going to see the same thing, I think, in these marijuana stocks and in this marijuana industry. And so that's why I'm invested in HITI.V, and that's why I want to buy more HITI.V. I do like, again, picking my favorite in each of these industries, and that is right now HITI.V and none of the other marijuana companies. Canopy Growth Corp was one that I was in for a while, and again, it's good, but not one that I'm looking to get into right now. I'm going to stick with only HITI.V for now. So that's basically the trades I made last week. And now next week, I'm actually looking at doing something quite interesting, which is selling Workhourse right here. So we can see we're kind of at these, all-time highs here. And I'll tell you guys, that's kind of why I want to sell here. First of all, I'm up quite a bit on this one. And again, we're out a little bit too far here, but and we're coming back down at it here. But the reason I want to sell this is because, we have GM earnings coming out next week as well, I believe on Wednesday. And what that's going to do is, if they're good, we might see Workhorse stock come down quite a bit, because GM now and a couple of these other big ones are focusing now on these, electric bus, or sorry, not electric buses, but electric bigger sort of class 6, class 8 vehicles, right? These big trucks as well. And that's kind of what Workhorse stock is doing here as well. Lordstown Motors, that's what they're doing. So we have to be careful there, because Workhorse has not been able to scale much production, right? And the issue with that is, when GM and these bigger companies come into this field and come into the space with their bigger market share, and they're trying to take market share away again from Lordstown Motors, from Workhorse stock, then they'll probably succeed. And there are going to be companies in the EV space, in every sort of new growing space, which are going to fail because they're not able to keep up, and they're not able to ramp up production to the level they need. And that's what I think unfortunately might be happening to Workhorse, with sort of GM moving into this space now. And that's why I will be selling Workhorse likely on Monday morning. Now, there's a few other stocks I would be willing to buy from that. One of them is increasing my position in Workhorse. The other one might be Veru, actually. And that's right over here. We have Veru right here. Their earnings are coming out on the 10th. Of February, and I do see good things for them. We're in this consolidation period. We had this huge spike up, right? And let's just zoom in a bit more so we can really see, right? We went from $10 all the way to $14, and now we're back down at sort of this $11 mark, and I think that's a good spot to hop in. They came back down off those highs, and we'll see what we see on Monday. We might see another little bit of a downturn. Usually these things last, 2 days or so, and then we'll see it pick back up. So if we see that, I would have sort of maybe a limit order placed for somewhere around this level right here, the 1062 level. And if we see us turning around here right back to the upside, I might just pick up shares at whatever price we're at the time. If we come back up to the 1340 level, I will not be buying shares in this one, though. There's a few other ones as well, but I'm going to save those for next week when we do videos on them. I'm not invested in any of them right now, and there's still a little bit more research that I need to do on them. So that's pretty much it for sort of some of the trades I've made last week, what I'm thinking about making next week, some opportunities for next week potentially here. And now I just want to get into the tip with you guys. And so the tip here is essentially having a game plan for what you want to do as an investor, right? And, for example, something like that could be longer term holds and, large cap stocks, so less risky investments. Or you could do short-term plays with penny stocks, or you could do long-term plays with smaller cap stocks, right? And so those are kind of different fields there, but I don't think you have to pick one. But I think you have to have your game plan set up so you know what you're doing, where you're going, and sort of what kind of a goal you have for that investment, right? So let me give you guys kind of an example on my portfolio, right? And this kind of starts last February. And I actually liquidated my entire portfolio last February, all into cash. And there was only a very select few stocks that I continued to hold. And one of those was Novavax. The rest of the money, I needed a little bit of that for school, and I'm not going to get into that too much here. But the point is, I liquidated my portfolio, and then in March, and I had a feeling something might be happening in the stock market. I was hearing a lot of things, and then it happened to be that COVID hit, and the stock market crashed, and I had all my money in cash, so I was okay with it. And kind of before I liquidated my portfolio, a lot of my stocks were sort of these bigger cap stocks. I didn't really get back into the stock market until about halfway through April, I would say. And for me, that was the perfect time to get back into the market because, we had hit those kind of March lows. And, with a huge crash like that, you just know the market's going to recover at some point. And I knew we weren't going to keep going down that much. And if we did, I would just dollar cost average down and down until we start moving back up. And, obviously it worked out really well for me. But I completely switched my portfolio at that point into, more smaller cap stocks, into a lot of clean energy stocks as well. And the reason I did this is because I knew we were going to start moving into more of a bull market here again. And, I still did have some large cap stocks, after that. I bought Netflix, for example, and Tesla as well. And obviously, Tesla and Netflix both have performed very well for me. And since I've sold Netflix, still have Tesla. Of course, I'm never selling Tesla. But, the reason I sort of got into more small cap stocks is, and this sort of continued as, we got through these March lows and we started to see the stock market recover. I knew we were going to be in quite a big bull market with all this stimulus happening, with all the, the aid coming through across the world here. And, small cap stocks do really well in a bull market, and they do really well for high percents too. So that's kind of why I decided to switch my entire portfolio over to these smaller cap stocks. And, you can see, most of my portfolio, and I'm not saying all of my portfolio here, but most of my portfolio are, smaller cap stocks. I mean, if we look at FCEL, this one, I bought it back when it was $1.8 back here. And, it's done absolutely amazing for me. We're at $25 here. But that was that clean energy sector, which I knew was going to do well. So if you have conviction on an industry, and you have conviction on sort of where the market's going, you can kind of gauge your investments accordingly to that. And I think that's important to do. Sort of, you don't need to decide between large cap, small cap, and stuff like that. It's good to have a mix of all of those in your portfolio to sort of mitigate risk as well. But also, you have diversity in all these different, not only sectors, but in different market cap stocks, right? And I think that's good. And you get those sort of riskier investments there in those small caps, which you can make those higher percents off of while still, maintaining a steady growth portfolio with some, bigger market cap stocks or mid market cap stocks. So, it's good to have all three, but the point is, know what market you're in and make your investments kind of accordingly and have a goal set out, for your investments. Know what kind of investor you are, know if you're risk averse or not, right? And so these are all things that kind of go into making a portfolio that really fits what you're trying to do. And right now for me, that is take advantage of the bull market as much as possible. And that's why I have so many investments in these small cap stocks, because I know in a bull market, they're going to grow the most out of all of them. And, if one goes down, 50%, that's okay, because the other ones have gone up 200, 300, 400% in the meantime, So what am I going to do when the bull market is over? I'm probably going to switch out in some of these small cap stocks, which I don't believe in as much for the longer term, and move it into, maybe potentially a few more mid cap or large cap growth stocks, which will kind of get us or get me through, some tougher times where we're not in a bull market, where we're in, just a more steady market, let's say, because then more of these small cap growth stocks don't do as well as they are doing right now. So just keep that in mind, and for right now, that is really the reason why I'm in so many small cap stocks, and I will be continuing to be in these small cap stocks until I see that this bull market is over. And again, I do not see that happening in 2021. I see it happening closer to maybe mid 2022. Again, it could be early 2022. It really depends on where interest rates are going, where the stimulus is going to take us, where these clean, energy legislations that Biden's coming out with are going to take us here. And I want to be very clear on the fact that I'm not selling all of these, smaller cap stocks. It's just the ones that I don't fully believe in for a longer term that I might need to reevaluate in a few months, right? But for example, fuel cell energy, they started at 1.8 and now they're at 25, but I'm not selling fuel cell energy, even when this bull market is over, because I truly, truly believe in fuel cell energy, just like I truly, truly believe in plug power. That being said, Bloom Energy is one that I sold last week as well, because I was in too many of these hydrogen industry stocks. So again, it really does depend on what kind of stocks you have conviction on as well, right? I don't think I'll be selling OEG either, for example, because this clean energy space for me is also very, very big, right? Mountain Valley MD is one that I believe in the long term as well, and I would not be selling that either. Same with HITI. You really have to judge the industry, you really have to judge the market and then determine whether these stocks are going to grow. But the last thing I wanted to go through with you guys here is sort of the sub picks, right? And the list hasn't gotten much bigger since the last time, but Revive Therapeutics, I've done a little bit more research into them, and I had some comments actually on my latest YouTube video that Revive could be coming out with some big news soon. So I would be looking to pick up Revive actually potentially on Monday morning here, depending on where the price goes. So that one. And, a lot of these sub picks we just talked about already, so I won't go through them much more today, but I just wanted to talk about Revive there really quickly with you guys. And that's going to do it for the video today, guys. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, please like, subscribe, and leave me a comment as always. And other than that, I hope you guys have a fantastic Sunday. Enjoy Super Bowl Sunday, guys. And other than that, I'll see you guys tomorrow.